What's up YouTube? My name is Amisbro. For this video we will be doing another anime first impressions. This time we are taking a look at Tales of Zestiria X, or specifically I believe it is called Tales of Zestiria the X, or the Cross, the series, which is based off of the game Tales of Zestiria by Bandai Namco. Now, here's the plot that they use, although the first episode doesn't really cover some of the characters. The story they use is the following. Sori is a human youth who grew up among the Sephirim, spiritual beings not visible to humans. Sori believes in a folklore that says long ago every human was able to see the Sephirim, and dreams of unraveling the ancient mystery to make the world a place where people and seraphim can live together in peace. Now, I mentioned this, but Sori does not actually appear in the first episode. The first episode is based, excuse me, around Princess Alisha Diphda. Diphda. If I mispronounced that, I do apologize. She is the princess, or a princess rather, of the Highland Empire. And she is one of the characters that is actually focused on through the course of the first episode. Matter of fact, she is the central focus of the first episode, which is actually called episode 0, which is confusing because when you watch through either Daisuke or you'll watch it through any other means, it will label it as episode 1. So it is confusing, but it is technically speaking labeled episode 0. 0, the prologue. Okay? So, we got to establish her, and what we were establishing was there's a sword that is in her empire, and they want to do a ceremony to see who could be the rightful holder and who could be the shepherd that could help them fight against any evil beings. Well, the whole time they're doing this, we have a bigger problem. There's a big mist, like a fucking storm cloud, hanging overhead that's about to ruin everybody's day. Now, where it gets really interesting is you see the story they tell through the first episode is a very simple one. See, apparently before this mist, this cloud showed up, the kingdom and the area around it was prosperous, and everybody was very much fit and lively, and the crops were growing, and everybody was, going about their day, no issues. Well, now, since we've got this, things have been happening. People have been getting sick, because you could see in one scene somebody was coughing, kind of like I was, as you've been hearing, and crops have not been the best. It's essentially been a hellhole. Well, the princess and her crew, and you'll forgive me, I remember the name Clem. I didn't remember everybody's name. Tao, and you had Clem and Tao, and I forget who the other members were. Volta. There we go. Couldn't think of the person's name offhand. And they are stuck in the middle of this problem because they had to go see somebody and unfortunately they were trying to see about something that was going on down below. because they're an archaeologist. That's another thing I forgot to mention. The very beginning of the episode, we see this what looks to be a hieroglyph, and it looks like it has something to do with this book, this Zestiria X book, I believe it's called. Somebody will give me the actual name. And it was just so interesting to see it. It was also interesting to see the way they did the animation. This show and the one we covered last night, Bee Project, has some of the best animation you will see this season. Period. But what I found interesting was they used this episode and they focused specifically on one character or one group of characters and their issue. They want to make sure you know who this character is and why she's important. That's awesome. It's not like last night when we were watching Bee Project and we had 10 different characters and they threw them all at you and they said, here, remember everybody's name. God damn, I'm looking if I can remember 5. That was a big issue I had. But Tales of Zestiria, the X, or the Cross, no issue. You introduce the characters. You may have to go and look back at like a character list every so often just to jog your memory. But you look at these characters and you have your reason for giving a shit. Because you know what the problem is. They have to deal with it. And now we're going to get ready, potentially in the next episode, to meet at least at the bare minimum, we're going to meet Sori probably. They will meet McLeo. Who knows? But this was a very interesting way to handle it. They didn't want you to throw a bunch of people at you that you're going to have to memorize by the end of it. The only thing I wish they did, and they didn't do it, there was a girl who showed up. I think it was a girl. And when the princess was charging to get back to town to try to beat out the mist cloud, the princess went through the being, and then you had another creature that they ended up having to fight, and that was an issue. But outside of that, I have no issue. I know what one of the big things is going to be that pops up in the series. I already know that. But, and I'm not going to mention it if nobody's ever played it. But I already know. I've never played the game either. But, that hasn't happened yet, so we're not dealing with that yet. This was the way you start a series, especially based off of a video game. And here's the beautiful thing for me. Because I'm not technically in the, and we're going to use this term, and even though I hate it, the game fandom, my experience with the show is a lot different, and my expectations are a lot different than the people who actually are in the game fandom. You get what I'm saying? The animation was awesome. I like how they're introducing the characters. I actually like the pacing. Here's one issue I have. And this isn't necessarily a gripe about this show. This is a gripe in general. Sometimes when two characters are having a conversation, okay, they like to pull this little trick where, okay, you can see the top half of me, right? Well, they'll do something where I won't stand up and do it, but they'll do something where instead of seeing this part of me, you'll see the bottom half. So literally, the way the camera's shooting, it's shooting from the footwear up to about the maybe a little below the knee. Okay, don't know why they have to do that in conversation scenes, especially in animes. Because what does that really do for the viewer? Do you know what I'm saying? If you're going to have a conversation, show the conversation the way it should be shown. Again, that's not a nitpick against this show necessarily, it's just a general observation. But since we're doing Tales of Zestiria, I had to bring it up because it's a thing that happens a lot. And it drives me up a fucking wall. It really does. Why do it? I've never understood that. Anywho, if you want to check out this anime, and I strongly suggest you do, it is airing on both Funimation.com, also it is airing on daisuke.net. And if you want to check out B Project, it is airing on Crunchyroll. B Project airs on Crunchyroll on Saturdays. Tales of Zestiria X will appear on Daisuke and will also appear on Funimation on Sundays. So go check both those series out. And the next time I see you for our first impressions, it will be around Thursday or Friday. Not exactly sure the day yet. And we will be going back to Banana Academy. Yes, kids, it is time to go visit the Battle Lovers one more time. Cute Hire Defense Club Season 2 begins later this week, and I am excited for it. I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend, and I will talk to you all then. Or maybe sooner. You never know with me. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.